Well, isn't this interesting? Happy Halloween, everybody. Hope you had a great day. Today was also the NFL trade deadline, and it was very interesting. The Bears bought one player. They bought Montez Sweat after the disaster that was last year's trade deadline. I was really surprised with the moves that were made today. So just to recap, early in the day, it was revealed that Jalen Johnson, or technically, so late last night, it was revealed that Jalen Johnson got permission to seek a trade because I guess the two sides are really far apart on contract negotiations. It was rumored that Jalen wants like $20 million a year, which would make him the third highest paid corner in the NFL. He's not worth that. I can't lie. Hearing that makes me like, oh, okay, so that's why they were looking for trades because, yeah, he's not worth $20 million a year. I'm sorry, Jalen, I love you. You're a great corner, but come on, dude. Like, you're not a game breaker. So there were rumors all day long. Bills, Eagles, Niners, Steelers. I was hearing those four teams a lot throughout the day who were gunning for him. And they all got scared away because Jalen wanted too much money. That was it. It was revealed that, trade talks fell through because Jalen... Oh, and the Cowboys. I don't know if I said them. Cowboys wanted him too because Jalen wanted too much from a contract. So they were like, oh, yeah, never mind. It also is possible that Poles wanted too much for him, which is interesting. If you value him that high in draft picks, then you probably should value him in negotiating an extension, but whatever. So Jalen... all day, especially I think the Steelers, it was rumored that they were like really close to getting a deal done. Falls through. It's revealed that he is going to stay on the Bears for the rest of the season, and they're also not even going to touch negotiating a new contract for the rest of the year. Like, they're just not even going to worry about it. Like, we'll figure it out after this year, which sucks. Because that's what they said about Roquan, was that they were so far apart that they're not going to get a deal done. And of course, Roquan ends up getting traded. But Jalen, it's too late. He's here to stay. Obviously, we'll see how the rest of the year plays out. He's got a long time to still prove himself. We're not even halfway done with the year. So if Jalen goes out the rest of the year and balls out, then good. I really want him to stay. I really love Jalen, and we'll get into the economics of what exactly a contract could look like if you do overpay him, but I'll get to that later. So what do the Bears end up doing? Well, they end up getting Montez Sweat from the Commanders, who is somebody I mentioned by name in my last video as a piece that we need to add to this defense, because that D-line, good Lord, is it bad. And a lot of people had a problem with this, and I don't know why. So we trade a second-round pick, which is pretty much what he's worth, a high second-round pick. This guy is, in 8 games, has 6.5 sacks, which is more than our entire... I think our entire D-line combined has 6.5 sacks so far this year. So, yes, please. And so we're happy because we get a guy that... It was either down to him or it was down to Chase Young. And a lot of people wanted Chase Young. And I wanted Chase Young. But that's because I didn't really know too much about what exactly the situation was there. Chase Young's a name I know, but looking deeper into what is actually going on with him and the Commanders and all that makes me a little bit weary about him, but I'll get into that in a second. So Montez Sweat, he's 27 years old, final year of his deal, so we got to pay him now, which I'm pretty sure Poles wouldn't have traded for him if he didn't have intentions on extending him. Like, cards on the table. If Poles doesn't extend him and we pay a high second-round pick for 8 games of Montez Sweat, I'm done with Ryan Poles because that is a horrible move. But if we do extend him and he ends up staying around, then fine. The move is perfectly fine. So he's 27 years old, last year of his deal. 6.5 sacks so far this season. Great start, career start to the year for him. High-quality player, always solid production, usually gets 8, 9, 10 sacks a season. Another important thing is he never gets hurt. And I don't know if he's ever missed a game due to injury. That's huge. because we have a defense that has already lost Eddie Jackson, Jalen Johnson, Jaquan Brisker, Terrell Smith. I know there's somebody else, Kyler Gordon. Just on the defense, we've missed that many people have missed games due to injury. So to get a guy that doesn't get hurt and it can have some consistency is pretty huge for us. You know, we don't have guys that are reliable. That's the problem. And especially not in that edge group who nobody seems to be able to do anything in that edge rushing room. Like, it's horrible. So Montez Sweat should bring in some stability. It should open up Yannick Ngakoue on the other side and get him going a little bit. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. So we ended up trading a second-round pick, which a lot of people had a problem with after the Claypool trade last year because he also went for a second-round pick, and that trade blew up in our face. Like, catastrophic failure. But I don't think that's going to be how it is for the Montez Sweat deal. First of all, Montez Sweat is actually worth the second-round pick. Everybody pretty much universally agreed that when we traded for Chase Claypool, he was not worth that high second-round pick. Not at all. I didn't even think he did, and I really liked Chase Claypool when we traded for him. I'm a big Notre Dame fan. I was really excited to get him. I knew he had high upside, super athletic. And when we traded for him, high second-round pick, I was like, that is not what he is worth. So getting Montez Sweat, though, especially in a season where that second-round pick, we probably would have drafted an edge rusher, and this edge class is super weak. We saw last draft, Ryan Poles said that they wanted to draft an edge rusher, but the cards just didn't fall that way. And now this season, there's not many, and we're probably not going to get one. So they're like, all right, well, Montez Sweat's probably getting traded. Why not us? Let's go get him. And people have a problem with this because they want to get into this like MLB or NHL line of thinking of the trade deadline where it's if your team is good at the deadline, then you trade assets and you get better players. And if your team is bad at the deadline, then you trade your assets away and get more draft picks. But if this trade happened in the offseason, nobody would have a problem with it, I don't think. Just something about the trade deadline just resonates in people's minds. But that's not the major issue here. Most people are mad because Chase Young went to the Niners for only a third-round pick. And everybody's saying that we should have done that instead. Yes, but no. So Chase Young, he's coming off his rookie deal. Also last year of his contract. Very great rookie season, won Defensive Rookie of the Year, and he's on a hot streak right now. Here's the problem. The dude cannot stay on the field. He played 8 games in 2021. He played 3 games in 2022. He played all the games in 2020, his rookie season. Had his 5th-year option declined, and this year he's played all the games. But if you look at that, he had a torn ACL, and then he had something was up with his knee. Like, that leg is just messed up. And I don't believe that this trade... So, okay, it should tell you guys something. This is the organization... The Commanders are the organization that drafted this guy. 2nd overall. And we saw with Daniel Jones, as soon as guys that are drafted that high show any potential, the team is like, we were right, pay him, extend him, let's go. Chase Young he was drafted 2nd overall. He won Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's on a hot streak. He is a well-known guy in the NFL. Yet, he only went for a 3rd-round pick. Does that not tell you something? That the organization that drafted him, not only that, the organization that drafted him 2nd overall has been shopping him for 2 seasons and just traded him away for a 3rd-round pick, despite him being on a hot streak. Does that not tell you what the greater NFL community thinks about Chase Young? The Bears are a rebuilding team, and they're not a team that needs to be making super risky trades like that. Because I can already see it now. If we traded for Chase Young, he would have come in, had a few solid games, gotten hurt, and then everybody would have criticized Ryan Poles for doing that. Because we're a team that needs consistency. We're not a team that should be going for super risky guys like that. Because that is a very risky trade. To trade a third or a second round pick to get Chase Young and then extending him sight unseen after how inconsistent he's been. Because Chase Young is definitely hitting free agency. That's why he went for a third round pick, I think. Because he's definitely going to be hitting free agency, because who would extend him right now? He hasn't really shown too much. So Montez Sweat is definitely the better guy to get. He's going to bring some consistency to this edge rushing core. He's going to be, I think, a very solid piece for us. I'm excited if we re-sign him. If you extend him, great trade. If you don't and he walks in free agency, Ryan Poles better pack his bags and get out of here. Because, good Lord, that would be horrible. So we are going to have to pay him, but I'm fine with paying an edge rusher. He is 27, but edge rushers are usually good pretty well into their 30s. Khalil Mack's like 33, and he's still playing great. So I have no problem doing that. I have no problem extending him. It's going to be weird extending Jalen Johnson, though. So we're keeping Jalen Johnson for the season. So paying him that $20 million per year might actually be the right move. I can talk myself into it because where the NFL is right now, it's a very pass-heavy league. Quarterbacks are making more than ever. Wide receivers are making more than ever. That side of the ball is valued so highly. What isn't being valued highly? Running backs, run defending linemen, linebackers, like run stuffing linebackers. People don't care about that anymore. People care about corners, receivers, quarterbacks. They care about the passing game. It is entirely possible that within 3 or 4 years, a $20 million average annual value for a contract is very standard for a corner. Now, Jalen Johnson, right now, he's not worth that. But what I'm trying to say is in a few years, somebody of that caliber might be worth that. It might be very standard. People laughed at Christian Kirk's contract that he got. Now with the way the receiving market is, it's very fair. So you could be ahead of the curve and give this guy what he wants. However, Jalen, he's good, but I feel like his numbers are a little bit inflated by the fact that teams just don't want to throw to him. Because why would they? The last 3 seasons, he's been playing alongside Kindle Vildor, rookie Kyler Gordon, who was awful, and rookie Tyreek Stevenson, who has also been pretty bad. Why would teams throw at him? You got a guy who's solid versus a guy who's god-awful. Why wouldn't you throw at the god-awful guy? Jalen's held his own against Devontae Adams and A.J. Brown, but he hasn't locked them down. And I think that's the biggest part, is he's not a game-changing corner. He can hold his own against wide receiver ones, but he's not going to eliminate them entirely. And that is why he's not worth top dollar. And also, he doesn't get picks, and also he gets hurt. Like, everything screams $15 million a year, $14 million a year. But he wants a lot. And Bears fans are really pressuring Poles to keep him because they want homegrown guys to stay around. I do too, but I just think Jalen values himself way too high. And I think he should see that in free agency when I think what we're going to do is we're going to place the transition tag on him, which is we're going to put that tag on him. Teams can make him qualifying offers, and we have the opportunity to match whatever offers a team makes. So, say we do get to free agency, and we go, okay, Jalen, watch this. Nobody's going to offer you $20 million a year. If somebody does, fine, goodbye, go, whatever. But if the best offer he gets is $16 million, we'd be like, see, I told you, and we're going to match that deal. You're staying here, $16 million a year. Like, that's where I think this is heading. So yeah, that's the trade deadline for this year. Really not as eventful as last year, where we saw guys like Bradley Chubb and Chase Claypool and Roquan Smith get moved, but I'm happy with what the Bears did. You added a valuable edge piece. I don't understand why people are giving polls backlash for this. I think that was a very solid deal. Hanging on to Jalen Johnson and trading for Montez Sweat, that's pretty good. Now, if you can pay both of those guys, that's really good. You leave me very happy. So we'll see what happens. Whether they pay Jalen a lot of money or not, we'll see. I'm fine either way. What you have to do is pay Montez. Otherwise, this whole thing is screwed. So yeah, that's all really that there is going on here. I'm just glad that Darnell Mooney and Eddie Jackson and Yannick Ngakoue are still Bears, because I honestly thought they'd be traded. I don't know why they weren't traded. I don't know why we're still hanging on to some of these guys. Somebody would have given us something for Mooney, but whatever. So, yeah, that's the trade deadline in a nutshell. Montez Sweat is a Bear. I'm very excited about that. Hopefully he'll keep up the pace that he's on. I really love what he's doing this year. Pay him, and we're golden. So, yeah. That's my thoughts on the deadline. Hope you guys had a great Halloween. I'll see you guys in November. Peace.